All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is July 14th. Markets are, off to a positive start, up 0.1% for the S&P. The NASDAQ currently flat, down 0.01%, not really changing. We're seeing the Dow Jones Industrial up 0.5%, so money maybe coming out of big tech and into industrials, staples, things like that. And then the Russell 2000 currently down by 0.15%. So Russell 2000 leading to the downside. Seems to be a risk off kind of market. The VIX is actually up about 0.5%. Not really too much change, still trading at like January low, so not any significance there. 10 years down to 3.8. We saw it almost at 4, so this is a good positive for the markets. And then the dollar index is finally below 100, so that should provide some headwinds, I would think, to maybe QQQ, IWM for sure. So that is the market right now. We're seeing Apple down about 50 cents from yesterday's close. Microsoft popping higher today, first thing in the morning. Google's trading at 125. Q's trading almost at that 380 level. Got so close to it yesterday, but got rejected. Let's see, Meta trading at 311. Tesla down from 280 yesterday to 276. Amazon at 134 and Nvidia at 465. Huge gains for Nvidia yesterday, and really pushing up. Allergic to money. Oh man. All right, Q's at 380 now. Alrighty, starting the morning strong. Let's see, Amazon's popping off here. Up to 134.60 first thing on the open. Google's trading above 125, 125.30 right now. Morning highs was 125.78 in yesterday's highs. Let's see. Back here was 125.36, so we're trading just above yesterday's highs right now. All right. All right, just close out of some Google puts at a loss right now. Still holding on to some Amazon puts. And we'll see if we can get any other pivots today. Cut losses on the Google. What was it? 123 put expiring next week. $7.21 expiration at 80 cents. Currently going for 75. Got some Amazon puts to go with that. Assuming Amazon to pivot at 135, let's check the open interest in volume, see if that still could happen. Looks like we're getting a decent push up thanks to the rest of the market, with Q's trading at 381 damn near. And if we look at the options chain, Not a lot of people buying into the 136. Open interest is very low, so still thinking that we could end up pivoting at 135, but we are already there, so we'll have to see if we do get the pullback. Let's see, Microsoft trading close to 350, ended up topping in the pre-market at 394.94, so very, very close to it. Open interest and volume both drop a ton after 350. Let's see if we can get any pivots, maybe to the upside, in case the markets just want to rally like hell today. Apple at 187.5 would be, or even the 190 strike is looking pretty good for a pivot. The volume right now is pretty poor though. Only 129 puts versus 68, so it's actually not quite 50%, but I'd imagine that 190 should act as a decent support today. If the rest of the market is going up. Since it's Friday, I like to go with next week's expiration. And next week calls. The 192.5 is going for 105 right now, and the 195 is going for 43 cents. So I think we'll go with a few of the 192.5s here. 107 each. $105 would be nice. 104 is now. Now they're up to 110. Okay. A little bit too slow with my entry there. All right, got him at 109. All right, we'll add that to the bottom right. It was a 192.5 strike expiring at next week. Call option. Currently going for 116. How do I feel about QQQ going to upper flat today? We're above that 380 level, which could end up causing a squeeze to the upside. Let's see where the volume in the open interest is though, just to confirm that or not. So right now, Q's is trading at 381, basically 380.8. Open interest is pretty high until you get all the way up to 390. Obviously, that's not super possible. It could happen if we just have a really crazy day. But looking at volume though, we might end up stopping at about 383 is what it's looking like right now. So maybe another, that would be 0.75, 1%. It's already up 0.4%, so that would manage it up to about 1.25, 1.5%. I think that could be possible today. All right, Amazon trading at 135.12, top in at 135.38, a little bit above that 135 mark. Let's check on Google, see where that's going. Yeah, Google squeezed up after hitting 125, gaining that support. Nvidia's trading at $472. Oh man, I feel like this is gonna hit 500 soon enough. There's probably people that are buying the 500s for next week, I bet. Let's see, 500. The volume is 2,300, and they're going for $435. That's crazy. Somebody would spend $400 to assume Nvidia will be 500 by the end of next week. Wild times. If you go with a similar put option, you have to go all the way down to $450 for a $400 put. So you could either go $30 up for 400 or just $20 down. That's pretty crazy, the skew. So much demand for call options. Volume is really, really good this morning. Seen a call for 300. Yeah. So sad I didn't make the move, was scared. Yeah, leaps right now ought to be doing pretty damn well. I think they're way too expensive, but doesn't mean they can't get more expensive. Like if you go with, say, an Apple Leaps call for, let's go January 25. Actually, I guess we only need a year till expiration for proper leaps, but if you go at the money, you're paying $2,500 for that, which is just a fat amount of premium. And then if you want to go in the money, which you usually should, if you're trading leaps options, say you go $10 in the money, you're paying $4,500 on that. So your break even is $160 plus 45, $205. And Apple is already trading at yearly highs or close to yearly highs. So not super appealing for me, but some people might see the potential in it. Damn. Nvidia's already at 475. Shit, we might even hit 500 today. Why not? At this point. I bet there's somebody buying a $500 call today. Yeah, there's 3,700 in volume for the 500 call. They're trading for 40 cents, so super cheap, but that's insane that somebody would take that trade. All right, Amazon's still trading at that 135 mark. If Nvidia is doing this well, I wonder how AMD is performing. Let's see. AMD trading at 117, 118. But yeah, this has not got nearly the amount of love that we've seen for NVIDIA, which is kind of crazy. Looks like Apple just topped at about 191 and pulled back. From there, where is my grid? There we go. That's better. We got the Michigan economic report coming out in about 15 minutes. Could give us some volatility. For today, filter by US data. Yeah, coming out at 10 a.m. Expected 5-year inflation is 3.1%. Expected consumer sentiment expectations 61.8. Expected consumer sentiment 65.5. Expected current condition 70.4, and inflation expectations, 1-year inflation expectations at 3.3%. So we'll see how that comes out, how that impacts the market. If the inflation numbers come in higher than expected, the inflation expectations come in higher than expected, that should mean that rates will go up, which should pull back this decent gain that we've seen for Qs the last couple of days. What is the volume for Tesla calls? Let's see. Tesla's trading at 278, so people probably going for the 280 strike. I wouldn't imagine they're going much above that, but 280 has 32,000 in volume, 36,000 open interest. That drops down to just 9,000 and 13,000 for the 282.5, so that could act as a resistance there. And then it picks back up at the 285 strike, but only to 12,700 and 22,900. So I think Tesla could be more likely to pull back at 280 than to push through that number. There's just not a lot of volume going into the calls above 280. Let's see next week's expiration, if they're going a little bit higher. Not really. The 290 is pretty popular, but hardly anything compared to the 280 at 4,200, 1,400. So, yeah, I think it's more likely to pull back at 280. It does have that resistance at 279.45 from yesterday's high. So that could be a mark for it to pull back. So we'll go search for Tesla puts. For next week's expiration, again, we want to go with 1 week expirations on Friday just to give it a little bit of extra time. They are very expensive though. Even if you go down to 260, you're paying $380 on that. They do have earnings next week, so that's probably inflating the premiums, likely. That's just so deep out of the money. $20 out of the money. It's like 10% almost. Let's see the volume for the puts, if it's any decent. Yeah, not really anything compared to the calls. So there's more bulls than bears on Tesla. A lot more. Let's see though. I'd say 275 would be an easy turnaround. Maybe down, the best you could get is like 270 to the downside. So $10 down from where it's trading, $9 down from where it's trading right now. Delta on these is negative 22, so very poor. And you would need that big move in order for that to pay off. Say we get a $5 drop, you only make 100 for it. It's really not worth spending 400, I don't feel like. Looks like Amazon fell under 135 again. Apple's trying to get back to 191 right now. Calls for Disney 112 and Nike 114 long term. Let's see, Diz trading at 90. Yeah, pretty far away from 100 and 112. But this is trading pretty low. I mean, you're looking at close to 52-week lows, whereas the rest of the markets keep on pushing the highs. And then Nike, NKE. This one's trading about average for the past year. $50 on the RSI basically, so this could go either way. And then Disney trading at about 50 RSI, so it could maybe go lower if it gets rejected here. And you might be able to snag some more at like 87, 88. But yeah, Disney definitely looks like a decent deal compared to the rest of the market. And it's trading almost at COVID lows, it looks like. Yeah, $79 the COVID low. That's crazy. Going to be available for Schwab users once the merger is complete? I'm not too sure on that, really. I would think so if they're taking it over. That would make logical sense, but when is the takeover going to be is the question, because they've been talking about it for ever at this point. Call credit spread 290-292 for Tesla expiring next week. They have their earnings, so you could get that jump. In my opinion, I think Tesla is not going to live up to earnings expectations that have been building up with the share price squeezing into this. So, in my opinion, probably going to come down. The magnitude of that, not too certain on, but I would say, you could be conservative 3%, 5%, or you could be more outlandish like 10, 12%, and you could those trades. Let's see, if you assume it'll drop 3%, that would be 270, we'll call it 280 right now, down to 271, so you could do like a 275, 270 put debit spread if you're bearish on it. If you are feeling bullish on it, yeah, you could go, what did you say, 280, 290, 292. I would probably go just one strike price higher with a 287.5 and then 290. or one strike price lower, I should say. It's one strike price higher on the chain. But I think it's going to be very hard for Tesla to live up to the hype that they've kind of built up with the rest of the market going up as much as it has. We've got about 7 minutes till the Michigan report. Looks like double top on Apple at 191. Still trading pretty bullish. You're trading at 65 for the RSI, so still strong. And Amazon's still trading at that 135 level. Pull back down to 134.60 and went right back up from there, losing its strength from being overbought to down to 63. And the highest these Apple contracts are going is 129. Hopefully we don't get a flat day like yesterday for the individual names outside of NVIDIA. Obviously it was doing really well. But yesterday I was watching, what was it? Amazon and Google, and they just spent basically all day trading flat. So hopefully we don't get that kind of day. Usually that does happen on Thursdays and Fridays. The momentum kind of slows down. But Q is currently at 382, so pretty bullish here. And I think the pivot was supposed to be at 383. Yeah, the volume drops in below 10,000 after 383, unless we just get there. Like right away, then people will start buying into the 384s, but for right now, there's not enough volume in the 384s to keep on going, I don't think. Labor Day. Wow. Yeah, that is probably 2-3 months away. It's taking them so long to do. Call credit spread for 290, 292.5. Yeah, that could work too. I'm not sure how much credit you'll get for it. Let's see. On Tesla at 290, 292.5. That's this week's expiration. Next week, you're getting paid. Let's set it up. Sell custom. No, that's not. Sell vertical. 290, 292.5. You're getting paid 75 credit. So you're getting 75 credit for 250 collateral, risking 175 to make 75. So I'd say the odds are pretty well in your favor there. What I don't like is the risk reward ratio for it. It's a little bit more skewed to where you're risking a lot, not really making too much if you're right on it. But I would say there's a good chance that Tesla does pull back post earnings. I think that once a fundamental market starts kicking in and we get rid of this kind of mechanical market that's driven largely by just a bunch of call options getting bought, then you'll probably have this shift to the downside. But yeah, Tesla just peaked at 280.05, currently trading at 279.57. The 260 puts are going for 350 now. 360 at the ask price. Amazon's pulling back nicely, looks like. Down to 134.62. This is a weird looking chart. I don't know why it's so high. Yeah, they're going for 360. The low was in at 344. So you're risking 15. If it does pull back, you might make... If it pulls back all the way to 276, the low for this morning you'll make up to... let's see... 436, that's 440 basically. 360. It's about $80 return for $15 in risk if you take the stop loss at 340. Pretty tight stop loss though, especially with the bid ask at 10-cent wide. And just breaking that 280 level right now. So that could force the market makers to buy some more here. Again, there's a lot of 280s and not a lot of 282.5s today. So people aren't super bullish on it. But there is 60,000 in volume, 36,000 in open interest that now the market makers are going to have to buy to sell to cover that. Trading at 335 right now. Yeah, that was the low right there. 330 was the lowest point. Going for 345. Okay, I think I'll try to get him at 345 and set the stop loss for 300. Risk 45. There we go. All right, so now we got 3 trades on: Tesla, Amazon, Apple to the upside, Amazon and Tesla to the downside. Apple pulled back pretty sharply from 191 to 192, or 190.4, but catching a low there. Let's see, the Michigan economic report is out. 3.1% versus 3.1% expected for the 5-year inflation. 69.4 versus 61.8. Very positive consumer expectations. 72.5 or 72.6 versus 65.5 consumer sentiment. So well better than expectations there. 77.5 versus 70.4 current conditions. So basically everything is looking very bright for the consumer right now. And then the 1-year inflation expectations came in just a tad higher, 3.4% versus 3.3% expected. So overall, I would say pretty good, solid report there. So likely markets could react positively to it. Yeah, Q's trading close to 382. Apple's trying to get back to 191 here. Still having some trouble. And Amazon just went back above 135 with that. Lows in at 134.5. Apple's just proven to be real tricky at that 191 level. Having a very hard time breaking that high. We got those contracts in at 109. They're going for 119. So we could just get our $30 profit and leave it. Looks like that might be what we have to do. Yeah, going down to 115 each now. 113. Quickly dropping. I'd like to get at least 115 on them, but we'll see if the markets are willing to give me that. Tesla's dropping under 278.5. Those puts are popping 365 now. Alright, these puts are going for 111. Still not able to get out. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like Apple just formed a top. Took profits on the Apple 192.5. Call expiring next week. 721 at 111. Probably could have got more for it, but my fear is that 191 is going to act as a resistance now, and these contracts were, let's see, 120 then. So getting back to 120 would be pretty difficult. But nice little drop on Tesla from 280.5 down to 278.4, 278.20. Right at those previous lows at 278.09. Let's see, these contracts going as high as 375. Apple been very flat. Any idea for Apple? Let's see. Yeah, just kind of flat for the past couple of weeks, it looks like. Check on the monthly expiration, see where open interest is there. There's a lot of 195s, a lot of 200s. So I think that there is possibly a chance that Apple ends up squeezing into next week. If it does, just kind of continue this trading action, this flat trading action. Maybe if it goes above 192, 195, then yeah, you'll end up squeezing up to 200. But right now, it's just kind of chilling, so you could take that risk. I probably wouldn't put a lot of money on it just yet, but you can snag those 200 calls right now at 6 cents, 7 cents a piece, or you could be more conservative with the 195s. Spend 45, 47 for those, so not too expensive. I would buy a few just for the chance that it does end up squeezing. Struggling in a small range for SPX. Let's see. Well, when you're starting the day up by, 0.3%, it's hard to kind of get that going for SPX. But yeah, it is just kind of chopping around between 45.18, 45.17, and 45.25. Looks like it's bound for a breakout right now, though. Nvidia's trading at 478, almost 480 today. 4% today. Amazon's popping off above 135 again. Slightly new high at 134, 135.42. Previous high at 135.38, so not too much of a gap there just yet. Bullish on RSI 70. Very strong. Tesla's getting flat here at 279. Hopefully we can break that low at 278. Start the downtrend. It's at 57 on the RSI, so slightly strong, but not too strong like it was up at 280.5. What's happening with AMD should probably follow what's going on with NVIDIA. Yeah, it's up 4% today. NVIDIA's up about 4% as well. And AMD really hasn't performed nearly as well ever since the peak, whereas NVIDIA's at new all-time highs right now. So AMD is likely just people chasing into what's happening with NVIDIA. Q is trading at 382.30 almost, 382.23, up 0.8%. Let's see, what are the top names? Nvidia's up 4, Microsoft's almost up 2, almost trading at 350. That was a peak from the pre-market. Volume drops by about 66%. Open interest drops by about 90%. And then for next week's expiration, still a decent drop in both of those. Even the 355 is not too popular. So likely a pivot at 350. And these puts are going to be a lot cheaper than what you'll get for something like Tesla. Don't need to go as far out of the money. Looks like Apple made its way back up to 191 again. Puts are going for 135, 137. Somebody bought a block of those at 140 or 150. Going for 135 right now. The highest that they went was 190. When I was trading at 346, it would have to drop $3 or about 1%. When it's already up 2. I'd like to get these at 125 if possible. They're 128 right now. There we go. Trading at 125 at the ask. Right at 349.95. And that was the pre-market high. So we'll see if it pulls back here or not. What do I think of Pfizer, Roku, or Square? Let's see, PFE. I know that it's trading very low compared to the rest of the market. What I don't like is that Pfizer has been heavily subsidized by the government for the past couple of years, whereas now that funding is being taken away. So it doesn't make it as attractive as an investment as it has been. They ended up bottoming at about $32 back in 2020. So you are buying it cheap. But I would think that their earnings would probably continue to decline for the next couple of years. So you're going to get less return on your investment than you would have the last couple of years since they've done so well with COVID. For Square, let's see. This one's trading pretty close to the lows too. This is kind of the consumer side of the economy, which I think would be doing pretty rough the next 6 months or a year. So might not be the best investment in terms of fundamentals. In terms of technicals, you're buying it about the middle of where it's been for the past year. It's not really getting a great deal, not getting a bad deal. Could it manage all the way up to 90 if the rest of the market is kind of going up as it has been? Probably. Up to like 87. And then Roku, or OKU, trading at 76, close to its highs, and 70 on the RSI. Short term, I would think there would be a pullback, especially on earnings coming up in 2 weeks. So I'd probably trade that to the downside over the next few weeks. Yeah, it looks like Tesla pretty well catching that support at 278 up to 279.80 now. Apple went above that 191 mark finally. And Amazon's trading pretty decently above 135 and new highs here. Yeah, catching support seemingly this morning at 133.85. So bullish trend on Amazon definitely for the hourly chart. Daily chart I'm sure is super bullish. Yeah, 68 on the RSI. So we could have a pullback with RSI getting overbought, but right now it is charging to the upside. Let's see if people are buying the 136s. I would hope so with this. Let's see. Yeah, 15,000 now, 16,000 almost, 35,000 of the 135s. Still not quite half the volume, but it is getting up there. All right, going for 97. Really trying to squeeze higher to 136 now. Seeing a couple names pulling back. Meta at 134. Apple still trading at that 191 level. Tesla 280 again. But Amazon just looks like it wants to hit 136. Just pull back from 135.99. Let's check the volume for the 136 to 137s. Yeah, that drops like 80%, but the open interest not that bad. Q still trading at the 382s. Top end just now at 382.86 down to 382.25. It's a nice little 50-cent pullback. We'll see if it really ramps up to the downside. Like I said, I think 383 would be the pivot level, so it would make sense that that would possibly be our high at 382.86. Where the volume drops 40,000 to 15,000. Open interest is about the same. Wealthy Risings, welcome. Buying TLT of Adepts after the next rate, the move. TLT. So if you're buying TLT, you expect rates to drop. So I think that inflation is going to prove to be stickier than what the Fed believes. And I think that rates will probably need to go higher than what the Fed anticipates. They're anticipating 5% by the end of the year. 5.5% by the end of the year. But I think we'll probably need to be up to something like 6.25 in order to get the services inflation down, which has been proven to be very sticky compared to goods inflation. So in my opinion, rates will probably need to go higher. TLT would likely come down, and I probably wouldn't be a buyer until maybe the end of the year. AMD and SPY. Let's see. AMD is doing really well today. Trading at 121, up 4.25%. And sympathy with NVIDIA up 3.6%. Pulling back just a tad from 122 to 121. And SPY, let's see. Currently trading at 450.75. Let's check the options. There's a ton of options for the 450, 451, and 452. Drops at the 453 level. So we might end up pivoting at a 452 back down. Let's see if Tesla double tops here at 280.5. Q's back down to 382.20. So decent. Again, 50-cent pullback for Q's. Looks like Nvidia might have finally found a top. Yeah, 480.8. And it's been the market leader this morning. And the volume dropped a lot. Open interest dropped almost 50%, not quite. But yeah, decent pivot from 480 to 475 right now. That might have some impact on the rest of the market coming down, since that one was up so high this morning. Yeah, I bet. For Nvidia, 450. That's crazy that how much it's gone up past 450. And it only happened in a couple of days. And that's the power of the options market. There's so many calls. So many freaking call options. 50,000 for the next two strike prices. 20,000 for the next two. And it doesn't slow down until you're at 495 and 500. But there's still almost 10,000 of those. So everybody's just loading into Nvidia calls, which could play, but it would have been much nicer to get in earlier like you did. Get in before the squeeze instead of after it. Alright, kind of looking like a double top on Tesla. We are getting a little bit of lower highs. Hopefully we don't just consolidate in 280 to 278. That would be annoying. That would be incredibly frustrating. Q's into the low 382s now. Let's see where we might start to get bearish. It's going to be pretty hard to be bearish today, I think. There's actually a decent amount of 380 puts. 54,000 in volume, which is actually higher than any of the call options. So if we do manage to get down to 380, that could be a decent turnaround. And there's 54,000 in volume. The 379s are still decently popular at 27,000. And puts don't get too unpopular until you're down to 373, which is way too far out of the money today. Tesla back into the 278s. Hopefully we crack that low. Amazon's still trying to head higher though, ignoring the rest of the market right now. Let's see how many SPY 450 puts we got. There's actually about the same amount of puts as calls at 450. Interesting enough. So you could get a decent pullback for Qs and SPY. I'm surprised that there's that many puts on SPY at 450. It's about a 50-50 ratio. Usually it's a lot higher for the call side. SPY trading at 450.15. So very, very close to that 450 mark. Still got to get below it to start selling us off. But Dow Jones is leading this sell off pretty bad. 346 to 345. IWM is actually down. The Russell 2000, 1.4%. That's a big drop from 193. Probably lots of puts going into this. The 190 strike price is probably really popular. Actually, not really. Only 5,000 of those. The 191s surprisingly were more popular than 190s. All right, Tesla into the low 278. Q's at 381, so maybe we do have the reversal in play now. Based on the options market, the 380 strike for Q's and the SPY 450s. Tesla just dropped under 278. Contracts are going for 376, up from 345 when we bought them. Not a lot of puts being bought for the individual names, which is very weird. And you're looking at the 280 call has 112,000. If you're looking for puts, there's nothing that compares to that. The highest is the 275 with 38,000 in volume. Q's gaining some support at 381 right now. But yeah, 380 would definitely be quite bearish looking at the volume there. For the puts, much, much higher than the calls. Even the 381 strike price, you have more puts than calls. 382, it is more bullish, 54,000 versus 24,000. But the 381 puts outweighing the calls, and then the 380s by far outweighing the calls. So we'll see. We keep on dropping if this is the pivot that we been waiting for. Tesla just below 50 on the RSI, 49 right now, so it lost its strength. But still kind of chopping around. Took some shorts in SPY. Yeah, under 450 could be decent. But you have to have a pretty significant drop under 450. That one was only about 13 cents. Usually you'll get the sell-off starting at about 30, 40 cents. So if we were down to like 449.60, that would kind of accelerate that sell-off on SPY. Either that or it spends enough time under 450. And the Dow is really getting crushed right now. And SPY just below 450. So you might get some back and forth with the 450 level. Again, the volume for the calls and the puts is about the same. And there's 150,000 of them on each side. So in order to really drop us, we have to get well below 450, like a good 40, 50 cents. Otherwise, you're just going to get the back and forth at the 450 level. All right, Tesla under 278 again, just barely. Making a new low. Kind of getting an equal balance from Nvidia, still up 4%. Amazon's at 136, up 1.2, and Microsoft's still up 2. So you're getting a decent balance towards the upside. on the individual names. And then Tesla down 0.1%, Meta down half, so the ones that are down aren't down a ton. In order to get this pullback, you gotta see probably NVIDIA double topping here. Microsoft pulling well back from 350. Amazon hopefully stopping at 136, but that doesn't look likely. Google actually finally pulled back from 127 to 125. But yeah, Q's starting the downtrend. Got some previous lows at 380.80 that we need to cross. And then if we see again that 380 level, there's a lot more puts to keep us moving down. Damn. Somebody just bought that at $420. Feel bad for them. Almost back to the morning lows on Tesla here. Q's under 381 down to 380.8. So that's right at the previous lows. And SPY finally under 450 pretty well, but still not super confident about the pivot to the downside until you're again under 449.50 or so. Sharp pullback on NVIDIA just now from 477 to 474 in 5 minutes. So yeah, you're getting a pretty quick drop. Tesla almost back down to the morning lows. Pre-market lows were a little bit lower at 276.10, currently trading at 276.90, so needs about 80 more cents. And let's see, the morning low was 276.32, so about 60 cents off of that. Amazon finally pulling back about 50 cents from 136. So yeah, you got to pull back for everything started. Just has to follow through with Qs under 380 for us to really be bearish for the day. Looks like Q's just found some support just above 380, 380.36. Right below the previous lows, which was 380.67. The puts are still more popular at the 381 strike price, but not by much compared to the 380s. But yeah, that's what I would be watching for. See if Q's drops under 380 for the day. That should turn us bearish. Below 380. Tesla, I would like to see below the morning lows, but seems to have caught some support pretty close to there. We'll take it at the pre-market lows actually, which was a little bit lower at 276.07. Ah, dang it. At or below that mark. And then SPY, I would like to see under 450.5 again. And that's about where we ended up jumping. But at or below 449.50, I think would turn us bearish. Yeah, that's all the trades for today. The Amazon trade is still on right now. The Tesla trade's still on. Hoping to take profits if Tesla drops some more. And cut losses on Amazon if Q's turns bearish under 380. So yeah, that's it for me, and I'll catch y'all at 9:30 on Monday. See you, everybody.